You were between great loves, recovering from a fall. That was a pleasant melody you heard down the hall, and hummed along. I was the bridge between the verses of your life, a calm and gentle passage, not the reason for the strife or the glory. You told me all your stories of the one before and then, and I, the fool, thought I was the beginning, not the end. But for now I filled your empty evenings with my laughter and my light, a temporary comfort in the middle of the night of your transition. I was your interlude, a beautiful brief pause between the acts of your own life, without a true because or a reason to last. Some never saw me as the main event, the headline on the stage. I was the calming music as you turned another page in your own story. And when the next great love walked in with her own demanding song, my interlude was over. You'd known it all along. I was a placeholder, I was your interlude. And now the show goes on with a different star to shine upon, a different stage. Now I'm writing my own opera with a narrative that's mine, no longer just a snippet, a taste of someone's wine between courses. It's scary being the main event, the singer and the song, but I'd rather be a solo that might last than an interlude that's wrong and too short. Maybe everyone is someone's interlude at some point. It's true, a chapter in the book they're writing just for them, not you. But the pain is in the knowing and the feeling like a space designed to be for later, not a permanent embrace in love place. I was your interlude, a beautiful brief pause between the acts of your own life, without a true because or reason to last. You never saw me as the main event, the headline on the stage. I was the calming music as you turned another page in your own story. And when the next great love walked in with her own demanding song, my interlude was over. You'd known it all along. I was a placeholder, I was your interlude. And now the show goes on with a different star to shine upon, a different stage. My own show, my own glow, no more interlude, prelude to me. Did the math, I'm sure of it, on some spreadsheet in your mind. Columnate the history, the memories we'd find. Hard to replace, column B, the future cost to compromise. The strain of dealing with my feelings like a financial drain on your freedom. You factored in the variables, my laughter and my tears, my dreams, my quiet fears across the coming years. As the liabilities, the assets dwindled with each petty, small dispute, until the final calculation showed a negative absolute and certain sum. It was love's cold calculus, a brutal logic game where the heart's a fuzzy variable without a proper name or value. You tallied up the pros and cons on a balance sheet of soul and decided that the cost of love had taken too great a toll. On your bottom line, you traded in a want for a solitary clean zero state, a risk-free empty cell where you could simply wait for a better offer. It was love's cold calculus, and I was just a raw data to be analyzed and then be let go when the numbers didn't lie. My heart doesn't work with numbers, it works with messy, vibrant art, with feeling and with faith and a wildly trusting heart that can't be quantified. So your calculation broke me with its sterile sharp precision, leaving me with the chaotic human raw collision of greed. Maybe love is anti-math, it's the 1 + 1 that makes 3. It's the illogical expansion of what you can be. Together in your calculator brain can never comprehend that the greatest sums are those you cannot plan or end with an equal sign. It was love's cold calculus, a brutal logic game where the heart's a fuzzy variable without a proper name or value. You tallied up the pros and cons on a balance sheet of soul and decided that the cost of love had taken too great a toll. Love's cold calculus, and I was just a raw data to be analyzed and then be let go when the numbers didn't lie. Equation unbalanced, my heart enhanced by the loss. Love's cold calculus is my boss's cross. I'm making a list in a spreadsheet, cold and clean. Column A, what was column B? What might have been. The cost of mighty memories, like I said, is to be sold. The trip to Mexico, but your hand was warm. Counting up the inside jokes, there were 123. I'm logging every tear you caused and every time you set me free. For an hour I'm weighing the good years against the bad, a brutal honest math, calculating the aftermath of our merger. This is love's final inventory, a clinical stark review of everything I invested and everything I lost in you. And as the net result is negative and bold and flashing red, a conclusion I have dreaded but have finally read and accepted. I'm closing the books on this chapter, on this failed joint enterprise, with nothing to show for it but the sorrow in my eyes. And the spreadsheet love's final inventory proves the business was a bust, leaving only this profound and intellect's a monument to shame and survival. And maybe next time, before I merge my soul with another's brand, I'll run the numbers first. I'll try to understand the fiscal reality of feeling. Maybe love shouldn't be an inventory. Maybe it defies the count. Maybe the losses and the gains on a spiritual mount can't be sung, but my heart is a corporation now, bankrupt and in shock. And the inventory is the only solid rock. I have to stand on the data doesn't lie, even if it doesn't tell the whole messy truth of the beauty of my faith and the folly of my youth. This is love. A clinical stark review of everything I invested and everything I lost in you. And as the net result is negative and bold and flashing red, a conclusion I have dreaded but are finally read and accepted. I'm closing the books on this chapter, on this failed joint enterprise with nothing to show for it but the sorrow in my eyes. And the spreadsheet love's final inventory proves the business was a bust, leaving only this profound and aching trust in the numbers, not the heart. Assets. Zero of this story. Love's final inventory. We lit it on our first night in that cheap Italian place, a tiny dancing promise on your hopeful, nervous face. In the glow we kept it burning through the years, through power outages and storms, a fragile constant fire that kept us safe and warm in the dark. But lately, drafts have found it, from open windows left ajar, from words left unspoken, from dreams that stray too far from each other. I'd cup my hands around it, you'd turn away to shield the breeze. Our efforts how to sink a slow and painful disease of the flame. Now it's love's flickering candle, a weekend guttering light, fighting for its oxygen in the middle of the night. Of our silence 1 minute, it's a steady beam, a memory of the blaze. The next is just a struggling, smoky, desperate haze. On the wick we're both just watching, paralyzed, afraid to make a move, to blow it out or save it, to disapprove or approve of the ending. It's love's flickering candle, and the wax is almost gone, pulled around the base of what we built upon and called forever. A part of me wants to snuff it, to end the anxious waiting dread, to let the darkness have its way, to go to bed in the honest cold. But another part still prays for a miracle, a sudden steadying air, a forgotten hidden reserve of wax, a repair of the very heart of it. Maybe some candles aren't meant to last, their purpose is a spark, to light the room just long enough to see, to make your mark, then fade. Maybe we've been trying to preserve a moment into a lifetime, and then the flickering is A weekend guttering light, fighting for its oxygen in the middle of the night. Of our silence 1 minute, it's a steady beam, a memory of the blaze. The next it's just a struggle and smoky desperate haze. On the wick we're both just watching, paralyzed, afraid to make a move, to blow it out or save it, to disapprove or approve of the ending. Is love's flickering candle, and the wax is almost gone, pulled around the base of what we built upon, and called forever a final sputter, a world of clutter. In the dark, love's flickering candle leaves no mark. I see the white flag in your eyes, the surrender in your stance. You're ready to abandon this, to take the easier chance. On nothing you've already mentally moved out, packed your bags of hope. You're standing at the edge of our fraying, thinning rope, ready to jump. And part of me wants to let you, to cut the cord, to be done, to stop the bleeding, to turn and face the sun of a life alone. But a fierce, stubborn, stupid part of me digs in, one last defiant stand before the end begins in earnest. This is love's last resistance, a final feeble fight. Not with you, but with the dying of our light. In my own soul, I'm not fighting for you anymore. I'm fighting for the us that was, for the ghost of a potential, for a broken sacred cause called belief. I'm raising a sword against the tide of your apathy, screaming, remember the you who's forgetting me, and all we built. It's love's last resistance, and I already know I lose, but I have to stand here in my worn out emotional shoes and make you see the ruin before you turn your back. I'll list our favorite moments, I'll remind you of the tune we danced to in the kitchen beneath the paper moon. We painted you, look at me with pity, like I'm a child clutching a toy that's broken. And you'll say it's time for joy to be found elsewhere, and you'll be right, and I'll be empty, and the war will be gone. Maybe resistance is just a state of grief, a last-ditch crazy dream, to believe you can change the current of the stream with your bare hands. Maybe it's less serious, this final fury's burst, to expend the last love, to quench the very thirst for the fight, so you can surrender truly when it's over. This is love's last resistance, a fight. on emotional shoes and make you see the ruin before you turn your back. I lay down my arms, no more alarms. Love's last resistance was my final foolish distance from the truth. We had our own title cards in the beginning, bright and bold. A meeting in the rain, a story to be told. We were the stars, the piano score was playful, fast and sweet. Our gestures large, our happiness complete, in black and white. But then the music slowed to minor, tentative and sad. The title cards grew farther apart and bad. Things happened off screen, our faces, once so eloquent, began to just react with widened eyes, with backs that all turned. A silent, painful cat to not speak. Now it's a love silent movie, a relic in my mind, a story told in the lenses that I can't leave behind. In the projector, the final reel is damaged. It flickers and it jumps. The last title part just says we end in melancholy bars. Of text on screen and there's no soundtrack now, just the whirring of the wheel, just my own breath trying to feel what the music once told me. It's love's silent movie, and I'm the only one in the theater, watching our joy turn into a lonely, quiet feature of my past. Sometimes I try to narrate, to add the words we didn't say, to explain the plot holes, to find a different way. It could have ended, but the silence is the point, the great gaping void where our communication was utterly destroyed, like pride or fear or time. Maybe all dying loves become silent buoys, the dialogue, the first to go, replaced by meaningful loves that nobody can know the meaning of. And you're left with the pantomime of a relationship, a dance where every step is just a desperate backward glance at what was when the music played. Now it's love silent. no stone in the center, no days carved deep in slate, no flowers left on Sunday, no one to mourn our fate. Publicly it's buried in the field behind the house we almost bought, and the sound of a thought I nearly caught and then let go. It's interred in 1,000 unsent texts in a playlist set to private. In the way I say I'm fine with a smile that tries to vibe it but fails. It's a secret burial attended by just one me and the setting of the sun. I witnessed everything. This is love's unmarked grave, where I come to sit alone with the ghost of what we built from blood and flesh and bone. And time no epitaph declares beloved or too soon, just the quiet growing grass beneath the lonely moon. And my remembering, I know the spot by heart, by the ache beneath the oak, by the particular way the morning light awoke the pain. This is love's unmarked grave, and I am its sole curator, tending to a loss that has no nomenclature but my own. Sometimes I think I'll mark it, plant a rose or leave a note, but that feels like an admission, like getting stuck in one deep throat of grief, so I let it stay anonymous. A secret part of the land, a hidden sacred hurting piece that only I understand the location. Maybe all great lost loves get on my graves in the end, because the monument meant them will be to pretend that truly overmade the unmarked grave is a kindness, a returning to the earth without the weight of memory assessing its worth. To passers by, it's just for me, this patch of ground, this specific hollow ache, a pilgrimage I make for my own sanity's sake. And no one else's. This is a love's unmarked grave, where I come to sit alone with the ghost of what we built from blood and flesh and bone. And time no epitaph declares beloved or too soon, just the quiet growing grass beneath the lonely moon. And I remember, I know the spot by heart, by the ache beneath the oak, by the particular way the morning light awoke the pain. This is love's unmarked grave, and I am its sole curator, tending to a loss that has no nomenclature but my own. Rest in peace, where we were beneath the blur of seasons. Love's unmarked grave for my own reasons. We built it stone by faithful stone, with vows for mortar strong, a sacred hidden sanctuary where our love belonged. Alone, the stained glass was our future in colors bright and bold. The altar was our promises, a story to be told for eternity. I was the devoted parishioner. I came to pray each day, to light a candle for our rest, to kneel and softly say, my gratitude, you were the restless priest who slowly lost the faith, who left the sacraments untouched, who walked a different path away from the pulpit. Now heart's an empty chapel, echoing with silent prayers. Dust on the pews where we once sat, and nobody climbs the stairs. To the bell tower, the candles have all guttered out, the holy water's dry. Our hymns are just a memory against the gray stone sky of solitude. It's a beautiful dead monument to a God that didn't stay, a religion of two people that just faded away. And to doubt my heart's empty chapel, and I can't bring myself to leave. It's the only architecture I believe in anymore. Sometimes a tourist wanders in a new and curious light, and for a moment I think maybe I could reignite the incense, but the air is too still, the echoes are too loud, and I just guide them gently out, away from the shroud of my past devotion. Maybe one day I'll deconsecrate it, turn it into something new, a library, a home with a different secular view of the space. But for now it stands as is, a museum of my trust, a crumbling, gorgeous, lonely place, returning slowly to dust and to nature. Now my heart's an empty chapel, echoing with silent prayers. Dust on the pews where we once sat, and nobody climbs the stairs. To the bell tower, the candles have all guttered out, the holy water's dry. Our hymns are just a memory against the gray stone sky of solitude. It's a beautiful dead monument to a God that didn't stay, a religion of two people that just faded away. And to doubt my heart's empty chapel, and I can't bring myself to leave. It's the only architecture I believe in anymore. Amen. And then silence again. My heart's empty chapel. Amen. Amen. The doors all creak with memory, the floorboards moan your name. In certain drafty corners, I can feel the ghostly flame of your presence. Room by room is furnished with the echoes of our fights, the whispered sweet apologies in the dead of night. It's now just whispers. The master bedroom's cold as a tomb of what we shared. The kitchen's full of laughter, ghosts for which I'm never prepared. At breakfast I'm the caretaker, the owner and the only guest, trapped in this architecture of a love that's been repressed but not exercised. My heart is a haunted house, and I'm living in it still, a prisoner to the phantoms, to the echoing sharp chill of your leaving. I could sell it, burn it down, or board it up for good, but something in this haunted wood feels like home, the only home I've known since you. My heart, a haunted house, and every ghost is wearing your familiar blouse, or your but the shadows have their own persistent power. It's a haunted house, and I'm here every hour. Sometimes on brave days I redecorate a wall, paint over a memory that feels too tall and looming, but the smell of fresh paint can't cover up the scent of you that lingers in the structure, in the very morning dew on the window pane. Maybe one day I'll hire an exorcist, a therapist, a friend, to help me cleanse the hallways, to help the haunting end. Or in a grave, maybe the ghosts become just stories told with a wistful sigh. Not jump scares in the darkness, not a reason why I can't move on. Maybe the house becomes a museum, not a prison of the past, a place I visit sometimes, but don't hold myself fast inside forever. My heart is a haunted house, and I'm living in it still, a prisoner to the phantoms, to the echoing sharp chill of you leaving. I could sell it, burn it down, or board it up for good, but something in this haunted wood feels like home, the only home I've known since you. My heart, a haunted house, and every ghost is wearing your familiar blouse, or your smile. I turn the lights on, but the shadows have their own persistent power. It's a haunted house, and I'm here every hour. Boo, who's there? Just me and the empty air. In my heart, a haunted house. My heart, a haunted spell. Used to be an open novel, pages wide and free. You could read my every chapter, you could know the whole of me. Without asking, I gave you the index of my fears, the glossary of dreams. I was a story seeking solace in your beams of attention, but you dog-eared the painful parts. You underline my flaws, you read me not for pleasure, but to find the hidden laws that broke me. You used my own narrative against me in arguments at night, until the story that was me no longer felt quite right. Mine to tell, now my love is a closed book, bound in leather, locked and tied. No one gets to read the pages, no one gets to see the light of my plot. The chapters on you are finished, sealed with glue and time. The spine is cracked, but the story is not wholly mine. I keep a burner, hold it on my lap, this weight of all I've been, but I don't offer it to anyone. I don't know where to begin to let them in. Is a closed book on a very high shelf, a story I'm writing now, just for myself. Sometimes a kind hand reaches, a curious, gentle gaze, and for a second I consider these new potential days of sharing, but my fingers tighten on the cover, a reflex born of pain, and I smile and I turn away. trust someone to read between the lines, to love the metaphors and the footnotes. But for now, the silence of the closed book is a sanctuary, a retreat, a place where my own ending and my own beginning meet without critique. Now my love is a closed book, bound in leather, locked and tight. No one gets to read the pages, no one gets to see the light of my plot. The chapters on you are finished, sealed with glue and time. The spine is cracked, but the story is not wholly mine. To keep a bird, I hold it on my lap, this weight of all I've been. But I don't offer it to anyone, I don't know where to begin to let them in. My love is a closed book on a very high shelf, a story I am writing now, just for myself. Closed door. My side is closed. My love, a closed book, forever enclosed. It's not a visible mark, not a line upon my skin. It's a weakness in my laughter, a hesitation to begin again. It's the way I flinch at slamming doors, the way I double check my words, a permanent inscription of the lessons and the hurts you authored. You signed your name in insecurity, in the doubt that shadows me, in the fear that love is just a temporary break and see. Against the rocks you carved your initial in my trust, a deep and lasting groove, a reminder with every move I make towards someone new. You left your signature on my scar, a permanent ugly scrawl, a tattoo on my spirit, the deepest hurt of all. Because it's hidden, every new hand that touches me will feel the razor wound, and wonder at the story, at the darkness they've exhumed. In my light I try to cover it with confidence, with a brave and bright facade. But your signature is there on the postcard of my soul, addressed to never again. My scar, your signature. You don't get to be proud, you just left me in a silent aching crowd of one. I'm in therapy, they call it healing, learning to reclaim the skin that holds your name within, as a lesson, not a definition. But some nights the scar aches with a phantom stupid pain, and I trace the letters of your name in the dark, and I hate you. Maybe a scar is just a story, maybe a signature can fade. Maybe I'll rewrite the narrative in a different kind of shade of ink. Maybe one day my scar will be a landmark, not a brand, a part of my topography on my own chosen land that I rule. And your signature will just be weathering an old graffiti tag, not the headline of my story, not the drag and heavy bag I carry. You left your signature on my scar, a permanent ugly scrawl, a tattoo on my spirit, the deepest hurt of all. Because it's hidden, every new hand that touches me will feel the razor wound, and wonder at the story, at the darkness they've exhumed. signature is there on the postcard of my soul, addressed to never again. My scar, your signature. You don't get to be proud. You just left me in a silent, aching crowd of one. Your autograph on my epitaph, I'll laugh and day my scar. Your signature will just say I got away. I've studied all the masters, the dramatic and the clean, the slam door, the burning letter, the silent stoic scene. In the movies I've rehearsed the angry speech, the teary whispered plea, every version of the ending that could possibly set me free from you. I bought the ticket out of town, I've packed the symbolic box, I've practiced my expression in the mirror, steady as the rocks. I wish I were, but when the moment came, my art deserted me. All my practice poise was just a failed philosophy of believing. But the art of goodbye is messy. It's a finger painting mess. It's not a perfect sonnet. It's a frantic wild guess. A closure, it's dropping the last box. It's fumbling with the keys. It's a snotty, ugly saw brought on by a springtime breeze. It smells like us. It's an unfinished sentence, a hand that won't let go. It's a masterpiece of failure that only I will know. I created the art of goodbye. Is the hardest thing I've tried, and the canvas is my heart, and the paint has all dried in the wrong colors. Now I'm left with the aftermath, a studio of pain, spilled emotions on the floor like a persistent stain on the hardwood. And I'm no master artist, I'm a child with a brush, trying to make something beautiful from the emotional crush of the ending. Maybe goodbyes are meant to be art, maybe they're just life, raw and uncurated, cutting like a knife through the ordinary. Maybe the beauty is in the mess and the lack of design, and the proof that something real was once yours and mine, to lose so badly. But the art of goodbye is messy. It's a finger painting mess. It's not a perfect sonnet. It's a frantic wild guess. A closure is dropping the last box. It's fumbling with the keys. It's a snotty, ugly saw brought on by a springtime breeze that smells like us. It's an unfinished sentence, a hand that won't let go. It's a masterpiece of failure that only I will know. I created the art of goodbye. It's the hardest thing I've tried, and the canvas is my heart, and the paint has all dried in the wrong colors. My gallery under gray skies. The art of goodbye is just a sigh in disguise. Found it in a drawer, the one we bought that year, with puppies on each month. A gesture sweet and clear of domestic bliss. We circled dates in different pens, your blue, my purple ink. Birthdays, anniversaries, the days we'd stop and think we should remember this. Dinner with the Smiths in March, a simple, hopeful scrawl. Camp in Troop in August, the biggest writing of all. Now phantom plan, and in December, just a heart around the 24th. A silent promise of a future, our own hearth and home. Now it's the calendar of us, a timeline of our death. Each circle date a ghost, now each a stolen breath of what could have been. I flipped through the pages, a museum of our hope, a chronicle of how we learned to barely cope with the mundane, until the mundane was all we had. The calendar lies, and every month decide with the weight of plans unmade. It ends in June with nothing, a blank and empty square. Story stops mid-sentence in the summer air where you left. I should throw it in the recycling, start a brand new year. But my hand won't obey, it holds this relic dear as evidence, proof that we tried to plan a life to mark the time as ours, to plant our little flags in the passing hours and claim them. Maybe every love has a calendar with its own expiration date. Maybe we just didn't see the best part until it was too late to save it. Maybe the dates we circled were just wishes, not a fact, and the empty squares were where the real love got packed away in silence. And now it's the calendar of us, a timeline of our death. Each circle date a ghost, now each a stolen breath. The one could have been, I print through the pages, a museum of our home, a chronicle of how we learned to barely cope with the mundane. Till the mundane found it. Full says, hey. I found it in a drawer. I found it in a Found it in the trash can on a Tuesday by the curb. Not a metaphor, the actual physical words. I wrote to you the letters tied with ribbon in a box you labeled old. A story of my heart that you had gotten cold and decided it was garbage. I stood there on the sidewalk in the rain and pulled them out. The ink was running, bleeding. There was never any doubt of the fate. You hadn't even burned them, given them a dignified end. Just tossed them out with coffee grounds. My love, my soul, my friend, to be collected. This is the love you discarded, left out with the weekly waste. A testament to how carelessly our time was faced. And ended you treating my devotion like a used up empty can. Something to be recycled or buried in the land of your forgetting. I took the sodden pages home and laid them on the floor. A monument to how I couldn't love you more and you less. This is the love you discarded and I'm taking it back. It's mine, this messy, soggy, overflowing sack of feeling. I'll be the keeper of its word. I'll dry them by the fireplace, I'll press them in a book. Not for you, not for the future, but for the honest look they give me of a woman who loved with a ferocity so deep that even when discarded, the love is hers to keep and learn from. Maybe your trash is my treasure, maybe your done is my begin. Maybe the love you threw away is the love that I will win back for myself. Maybe discarding it was the kindest thing you ever did, freeing me from the hope that you still kept it hid somewhere sacred. Now I know its place in the rain by the street. Now my love is mine and mine alone, complete. This is the love you discarded, left out with the weekly waste. A testament to how carelessly our time was faced. And then ended, you're treating my devotion like a used up empty can. Something to be recycled or buried in the land of your forgetting. I took the sodden pages home and laid them on the floor, a monument to how I couldn't love you more and you less. This is the love you discarded and I'm taking it back. It's mine, it's messy, soggy, overflowing sack of feeling. I'll be the keeper of its word. My love, not tried from the ash. I'll rise with a splash. The love you discarded is my flash of lightning. It wasn't in the words you said that this isn't working line. It was the silence after a quality sign. In the air was the finality of your car door's solid thunk. The empty echo in the hall as your presence shrunk to nothing. It was the absence of your key in the lock at 5:30. The missing rhythm of your footsteps keeping me alive. With expectation was the quiet of the phone that never rang again. A new flat silent tone beneath the noise of rain on the roof. There was a sound of goodbye, a deafening hollow roar. Not a bang, but the closing of a permanent door in my soul. It's the quietest sound I've ever known. This vast and empty ache, the sonic boom of a future that you chose to break and walk away from. It rings in my ears on loop. There's nothing as profound like a frequency that only I can hear, that colors every thought black with its silence. There was a sound of goodbye. Amazing. I try to fill it with music, with podcasts, with a friend's voice, but the sound of goodbye is a permanent haunting choice. My heart has made, it's the baseline of my new life, the slow and constant hum of what's missing, of what will never come back. Maybe every ending has its own unique destructive sound. A slammed door, a call, breath, the body hitting ground. Metaphorically, and mine is just this absence of a sound I come to need. The quiet eradication of a loving daily deed and all its noise. There was a sound of goodbye, a deafening hollow roar. Not a bang, but the closing of a permanent door in my soul. It's the quietest sound I've ever known. This vast and empty ache, the sonic boom of a future that you chose to break and walk away from. It rings in my ears on loop. There's nothing as profound like a frequency that only I can hear, that colors every thought black with its silence. There was a sound of goodbye. It never really fades. glisten of a tear is the only thing I hear. The sound of goodbye is near. I thought it would, I truly did, when you walked out that door. I thought the sun would pause its climb, would not rise anymore. In protest, I thought the birds would forget their songs, that rain would never fall, that gravity itself would heed my desperate silent call and just cease. But the alarm still blared at 7, and the coffee still brewed black, and my boss still sent me emails expecting something back. On deadline, the grocery store still sold the bread you liked to toast, and the radio still played that song we hated most without a care. But the world didn't stop, it just went cruelly on, a spinning heartless marble under the same old sun. And moon, it didn't pause for my grief, it didn't slow for my pain. The traffic lights still changed, still fell the rain on everyone. My personal apocalypse was just a Tuesday in the park, a silent private cataclysm, leaving no external mark on the cosmos. The world didn't stop, and that's the hardest part to bear, that my ending was so small in the indifferent air of eternity. I'm learning to move with it now, this world that didn't care, to put one foot in front of the other, to breathe the same shared air. As happy people, my heart is a ruin, but my body buys the milk. My soul is shattered, but my hands know how to sew the silk of a daily life. Maybe the world not stopping is a kindness in disguise, a forced march back to living under ordinary skies that demand participation. Maybe the greatest grief is one the world accommodates by ignoring it, by keeping all its days and appointments. It drags you forward even when you're anchored in the past. But the world didn't stop, it just went cruelly on, a spinning heartless marble under the same old sun. And moon, it didn't pause for my grief, it didn't slow for my pain. The traffic lights still changed, still fell the rain on everyone. My personal apocalypse was just a Tuesday in the park, a silent private cataclysm, leaving no external mark on the cosmos. The world didn't stop, and that's the hardest part to bear, that my ending was so small in the indifferent air of eternity. The world spins, my heart thins, but I'm on it. The world didn't stop, and I'm upon it. the sheet, the ones that still smell like your sleep. Pour in the detergent, watch the agitated swirling deep. Water turned gray, I scrubbed the coffee mug. You always use the world's okayest dad. A joke before the kids we never had, faded like the glaze. I mopped the floors where your boots left their faint, insisting trace. I wiped the bathroom mirror, erasing the shared space of our reflections. It's a methodical where ritual is cleaning of the slate, trying to eliminate, trying to obey the ghost of you in crime. I'm washing you away with soap and water and with time, scrubbing at the memories, trying to make them rhyme with over. But some stains are set, some smells cling to the air. No matter how I rinse and rain, no matter how I stare at the empty suds, you're in the very steam that rises from the sink. And every droplet and every link of this chain of chores, I'm washing you away. But the water's never clear, I'm just moving you around from here to there and back again. The final load will be the sweater, the one I stole and kept. I'll put it in on gentle cycle while I quietly wept for its softness. And when it's done, it'll be smaller, matted, not the same. A perfect symbol of this futile love and losing game of cleanliness. Maybe you can't wash a person out, maybe they're a dye that soaks into the fibers of your life under the sky of every day. Maybe washing away is just a hopeful, busy lie to make the helpless feeling of goodbye feel like control. I'm washing you away with soap and water and with time, scrubbing at the memories, trying to make them rhyme with over. But some stains are set, some smells cling to the air. No matter how I rinse and rain, no matter how I stare at the empty suds, you're in the very steam that rises from the sink. And every droplet and every link of this chain of chores, I'm washing you away. But the water's never clear, I'm just moving you around from here to there and back again. Spin cycle, the spiral of washing you away. Down at the end of the day. You fell for the shiny me, the one with the easy laugh, the one who didn't overthink the photograph. With the future you love, the girl in the sundress with the margarita in her hand, not the woman with the mortgage trying to understand the tax forms. You adored the confident adventure, bab spread on the hood, not the anxious one who wondered if she could or should be more. You cherished the idea of who I was when we began, a polished shiny surface, not the complex inner plan of a real person. You loved the version of me, the one that was fun and light. And when the seasons changed, I came into a different side. yourself, you were disappointed. The version you had in your mind couldn't coexist with the woman you would find. Over time, you loved the Snapchat, not the moving, living film. You loved me on my best behavior, when my heart was at the brim. With novelty, you loved the version, and the real me moved on, leaving you with the ghost and me finally gone from your limited view. Now I'm alone, but I'm whole. Every version in one frame, the summer and the winter. And I'm learning not to blame myself for growing. I'm the complex, messy, true addition, complete. And maybe someone else will love the woman, not the sweet and fleeting idea. Maybe we all do this in the beginning, see the highlight reel and call it love, before the daily truths reveal the full picture. A real love is love in the director's cut, the unedited scene, the boring parts, the in-between, the evolution. You love that version of me, the one that was fun and light. Then when the seasons changed and I came into a different side of myself, you were disappointed. The version you had in your mind couldn't coexist with the woman you would find. Over time, you loved the snapshot, not the moving, living film. You loved me on my best behavior, when my heart was at the brim. With novelty, you loved a version, and the real me moved on, leaving you with a ghost and me finally gone from your limited view. The version you love is our life, dying alive. You loved a version, I survive a revision. You rode in with a thunderclap, a light in your eyes. You uprooted my quiet garden with your passionate wild skies. And I welcomed you with rain after a drought, a thrilling, dangerous chase. You rearranged my furniture, you took up all the space in my atmosphere. For a while it was exhilarating to live inside the gate you so fiercely wanted to know I would not fail to be noticed. But storms aren't meant to settle, they're meant to pass on through. And you just kept on raging till everything I knew was shoot and broken. Because you were the storm and I was just the sheltered land. You were the furious, beautiful, destructive taking hand of nature. You flooded all my cellars, you split my oldest tree. You left me with the wreckage of what I used to be before the weather. And now the sky is clear, a pale and empty blue. And I'm surveying all the damage that was done by you. In the name of passion, you were the storm, and I mistook the chaos for a sign. Now I'm rebuilding in the sunshine and the quiet. I hear you remaining somewhere else, on some other willing town. And part of me pities her as the world comes down torrents. But part of me knows the thrill, the addictive wild rush, before the devastating, inevitable hush and the cleanup. Maybe some hearts are built for calm weather, for a gentle growing sun. And others need the tempest, need the chaos to feel one with the world. And when a calm heart loves a storm, one must change or be destroyed. I chose to rebuild my quiet, you chose to be deployed elsewhere. Because you were the storm and I was just the sheltered land. You were the furious, beautiful, destructive taking hand of nature. You flooded all my cellars, you split my oldest tree. You left me with the wreckage of what I used to be before the weather. And now the sky is clear, a pale and empty blue. And I'm surveying all the damage that was done by you. In the name of passion, you were the storm, and I mistook the chaos for a sign. Now I'm rebuilding in the sunshine and the quiet. Storm pass, calm and last. You were the storm, I am the aftermath. The house has its own memory. It holds the sound of you in the way it settles after midnight, in a distant ghostly coo of the pipes. I'll hear your laugh rebound from the hallway, just a trace, a trick of acoustics in this empty waiting space. Or is it you're in the hum of the refrigerator, the rhythm of the heat, a resonant low frequency that makes my own heart beat. In answer, the walls absorbed our arguments, our whispers and our cheers. And now, in the quiet, they release them back to feed my fears and my longing. Is your echo in the walls a permanent soft vibration? The architecture of our love left to this strange narration by plaster and wood. I can't renovate it out, I can't soundproof my heart. It's woven in the very structure, it's the essential part of this home's foundation. Sometimes I'll speak just to hear my voice bounce back, and imagine yours replying on that old familiar track. to drown the subtle sound, but in the silent gaps between the songs, the echo can be found. Persistent is a part of the house now, like the color of the paint, a feature I didn't order, a whisper of a saint, of a past life. Maybe one day I'll sell the place, let new voices fill the rooms, let new laughter chase the echoes into forgotten glooms in the attic. But for now I'm the caretaker of this sonic monument, paying the mortgage on a love that came and went and left its voice behind. It's your echo in the walls, a permanent soft vibration, the architectures of our love left to this strange narration. By plaster and wood, I can't renovate it out, I can't soundproof my heart. It's woven in the very structure, it's the essential part of this home's foundation. Sometimes I'll speak just to hear my voice bounce back, and imagine yours replying on that old familiar track of conversation. Your echo in the walls is the loneliest company, a reminder that a house is not a home when it's just me and your ghost.